What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Shooting the Shit with Ray. So, as you can tell, we have a little bit of different background. We're in my lodge in Northwest Missouri, RMA Outfitters. Um, so, just doing some recon work and doing a bunch of field stuff here. So, I just wanted to do a podcast here. Have a bunch of stuff on my mind that I've been wanting to get out to you guys and talk about as we grow closer to season, deer season. So one of the topics is choosing an outfitter, and there's so much turmoil out there in the field when it comes to choosing an outfitter and what to ask and what to look for. And I wanted to shed some light on it and what I think, because I hunt everywhere. I just got back from a bear hunt in Canada with an outfitter, and I hunt with outfitters all over the place still. And I love it. And there's things that I've seen that could be better, and there's things that are amazing, and there's things that are terrible. So I wanted to shed some light on what I feel kind of like an umbrella questions on what I think your initial questions should be, what you should be looking for. So we're gonna go ahead and jump right into it. So first, what I've seen a lot is when I have guys call me and talk to me is, what's your weapon of choice? And what I mean by that is I have guys that sometimes are conflicted on whether they want to shoot with a bow or they want to shoot with a rifle, or a muzzleloader. And my thing to them is this all the time is, all right, which one is going to make you happier to be successful with, or which one is going to make you, let's say you're sitting there with your bow and you have a buck at 100 yards, that obviously you have your bow, it's too far for you to shoot with your bow. Yes, there is people that can shoot 100 yards, I get it, but in a normal setting, we're going to go with the bucks at 100 yards, and you can't take that shot. Are you going to go home, let's say you leave empty handed, wishing that you would have taken your rifle, or are you going to be content that you saw a shooter or a buck of a lifetime or whatever it may be, but it just wasn't in your grasp, but it made your hunt that you saw that buck, but you know, you had your bow and you just weren't able to take it, or you're going to kick yourself in the butt, So that's kind of how I feel that you should go towards that question, and not really ask me what do you think I should take. It's really what you should take. What do you feel that would make you happier harvesting your animal with. Sometimes I get, well, I feel like if I'm going to travel that far, I feel that my higher success rate would be with a rifle. Okay, yeah, I get it. Close the distance. You can shoot that 200, the 150, and make it count. I get it. I myself personally am an archery guy, so it doesn't bother me to see an animal of a lifetime far that I can't shoot, because even if I shot it with my rifle, I'm happy, very content that I would be able to harvest that animal, and I would if I had my rifle, but I'm not kicking myself later because I didn't take it. I'm happy, I'm content. I had my bow and I saw an animal of a lifetime, and I can't wait to go back and hopefully be closer and shoot him with my bow. So that's one thing, that a question that I would ask yourself and not put it on the outfitter. That's a question you should answer on your own. Another one is, what size animal are you looking for? So we're going to talk whitetail here, right? So realistically, and the reason I say realistically is because if you're going to go somewhere and you're going to say, all right, I want to go and I want to shoot a 200-inch deer. Okay, is it possible? Yeah, we have 200-inch deer shot here. Yep. And I get them on camera and I get guys on them. Yes, and 180s and 190s and 170s and 160s. Yes. But realistically, higher that number is, the rarer those animals become. So I've always been a type of person that I like to climb the ladder. What I mean by climb the ladder is I'm okay shooting or harvesting a 100-inch deer, and then a 110, and then a 120, and then a 130, and then a 140. And yes, you may skip and shoot the 150 and then come back down to a 140. But I like that because I feel that normally your body or you as a person, you're gonna harvest these animals and you're gonna already say, okay, I don't want to harvest a 130 anymore. And when a 130 comes out, it won't give you that craziness that it used to do. So it's okay for you to pass that 130 to move to the next step of 140, or an animal that does it for you. I'm not, I personally always try to shoot a 150 or bigger. And now I'm actually to the point where I can pass a 150 and I'm okay to pass a 150. But now you give me a heavy 8 that's a 140 and he's just a heavy masked out 8, I I might do it. And a lot of the times I just feel I just go with myself. If my first instinct is to grab my weapon and not my binoculars, I'm probably going to try to harvest that animal. If I got to look at my binoculars and talk myself into it, it's probably an animal I should not harvest. So you need to be realistic when you're talking to the outfitter on what you want. If you've only shot a 100 or 120-inch deer and you're asking for a 200, I guarantee you when a 140 walks out that you've never seen before, you're going to think you're looking at a 200-inch deer. So that's why I say realistic. I've been doing this a very long time, and I've had guys want this unrealistic. And it's not that it's unrealistic, it's just that the first good buck that steps out, a 140, 150, you're going to be like, oh my gosh, shoot it. And then you're going to call me, and we're both freaking out on the phone because I think you just harvested a 200-inch deer. And when I get there, it's a great buck, 130, 140, 150. It's a great buck, and we're going to high five, and we're going to go crazy over this animal and be pumped up about it. But it's not the 200 that you were talking about. So that's why I say you need to be realistic in what you're wanting to harvest. Don't chase an inch game. Don't chase this number because you want to post something. It's hunting, and you have to be honest with yourself and grow with yourself, not grow with what you think is out there and what you think is going to make you look cool, because you can go years and struggle so hard and maybe even not like hunting anymore because you're chasing a number instead of just chasing what you feel is a great animal and excites you in the moment and makes it all come together. That's such a blessing when it all comes together and you call me and you're so excited and it's awesome. And I love that. And that's what I think it's about, not really chasing a number. Yes, as you start to become a seasoned hunter and you've harvested a lot bigger animals, yeah, I get it. You're naturally just going to want to do better and go bigger. So that's okay. But don't try to rush that. It's, live in it, live in the years of hunting and the outdoorsmanship. And, all of these deer that lead you up to going bigger make you a better hunter because you're making mistakes and you're doing stuff and you're growing and you're becoming smarter. Just because you've shot a 200-inch deer doesn't make you the best hunter in the world. No, God bless you, and you shot a 200-inch deer. But if you went from 100 and you've only shot 1 or 2 bucks and you shot a 200-inch deer, that doesn't make you an amazing hunter. It makes you a blessed hunter. It doesn't make you an amazing hunter. Building up to it and your time in nature, your time in the woods, boots on the ground, seeing everything, that's what makes you a seasoned outdoorsman, seasoned hunter, not inches on a head. So be realistic when you're asking and when you're thinking about what you want to harvest. Be honest with yourself. That's what I have to say to that. You just have to really be honest with yourself. Okay. Now, picking an outfitter according to the buck you want to harvest, you need to narrow it down to a state, right? So, yes, all states have big bucks. Florida, has there been 170, 180, 190, 200-inch deer shot? Yes, there has been. Yep, you can look it up. There has been. Now, is there as plentiful as the Midwest? No. Has Georgia harvested many booners? Yep. Sure has. Are they as plentiful as the Midwest? No, they're not. So that's why I say you need to look at what you want to harvest and then try to pick the state that has the abundance of that caliber of deer. You know, if you're looking for 120s, 130s, man, there's just about all the states can give it to you, you know. But as that number grows, or you want to be more successful on a bigger buck, you need to focus on states that give you that caliber of animal in quantity. Not that, well, one buck out of 6 years has been shot. No, you want multiple bucks in 1 year that has been shot in that state, because that's going to create better odds for you and a higher success rate on that caliber of animal. So that's how you start narrowing down to the state, right? All right. Now we narrowed it down to the state. Now we're calling an outfitter. We're calling the guy. And there's so many questions I have, right, when it comes to that. So when you get the person on the phone, the biggest thing is, does that person, whether it's the owner or the guide, right, is he going to be there on the hunt with you? Because any promises made, you want those promises delivered. But if he's not there in the house, in the lodge, on a daily basis, it's hard, because you just talked to that one person and now you're getting a different guy. Well, that guy doesn't know what you guys have previously talked about. So those are big things to me that, okay, you're on the phone, which I've had not too long ago, that was not there, and it made a big difference. But I'm talking to you, you're telling me all this stuff. Okay, have you set the stands up yourself? Do you know the stands, the cameras? You know, are you a hunter? That's a big one. I need to know if the guy that's setting up all these stands, is he a hunter? I want an outfit ran by a hunter, because you're a hunter, I'm a hunter. So then I'm assuming that everything that's set up should be as a hunter would want it to be, not slapped up somewhere and hope an animal walks by. No, I need that knowledge of that person, an outfit, bringing that hunting knowledge to the ground that he's going to give to me. So, is that outfitter that you're talking to, does he hunt himself? Did he put these stands up, or does he know of these stands? Does he know the movement of these stands? Does he look at the trail cameras? Does he study these trail cameras? If the state allows feed or mineral or whatever the case is, does he run that mineral or feed? Does he keep up with this? Does he do his summertime due diligence and cleaning it up and, going through it all? These are all very important questions, because when I'm sitting at a table and I'm going to talk to you about it, well, if you're giving me your best advice, but you've never even been in the woods there, well, I mean, you're just like me then. We're both new here looking at it together. Or if that guide that you have has never even seen these set of stands, he was just given these set of stands to give a route to drop guys off. Well, how are you giving me your best knowledge? That's very important to me, because that can make or break what you're supposed to be paying attention to, and it's a mental game too. So those are big questions for me. All right, another question is, are there additional charges of the price of the hunt? And what I mean by additional charges, are there caping charges? Are there um, use of a dog to track my animal, or use of a drone? Are those charges? Are there trophy fees? Is there an antler restriction? These are all things you want to know going into the game before you get there, of, okay, if I wound an animal and I need a dog or I need a drone, I'm going to have to pay X amount of money. Those are things that you should know before you get there. Just because, you know, not everybody has the finances to do it. So it's good to know that if something goes sideways, you might have to spend an additional X amount of money to make this happen. Hey, everybody, I would like to take a quick second here and say thank you to my sponsors. First of all, I would like to give a big thank you to Tacticam cell cameras. I have been using them for 4 years now and have countless number of success stories using their cell cameras. They have absolutely changed the game. If you haven't checked out a Tacticam cell cam, you will not regret it. Also, I would like to give a big thank you to Weaver Custom Calls. He makes custom turkey calls and they are outstanding. I mean, the guy is part turkey, so definitely go check out Weaver Custom Calls. I would also like to give a big thank you to Dirty South Taxidermy. He's mounted a lot of my deer. He mounts all kinds of animals. Go check out Dirty South Taxidermy. Now let's get back to the show. When you're in camp, right? This is an in camp thing. A little off topic, but not too bad. But when you go to an outfitter and you pay him, right? You have to remember that you're paying him for this experience and his knowledge. Don't go there and when you hear him say something, immediately discard it and think that, well, I know better. This should be like this and this should be like that. If you're going to think like that, then you probably shouldn't be on an outfitted hunt because you should be listening to your outfitter or your guide because if you're giving him that much trust, which you paid to go on this hunt and you traveled all the way to, so there has to be some kind of trust in the mix. If you've given him all this trust already, just give it to him the whole time you're there. Because even on this bear hunt that I was just on, my mind is going in 1,000 different directions, but I never said a word. I didn't second guess. I just freely went to however the guide told me to do. That's exactly what I did, whether I thought maybe it made sense or didn't make sense. And it ended up paying off. But I feel like if you bring your hometown knowledge to another state, just because it worked in your hometown doesn't mean it's going to work in another state. So let the guide you. Whether it makes sense or not, just go with it. And if he tells you, I think you should stay on that stand one more day, stay on the stand one more day. Or, hey, I think you should move. Okay, then move. And yes, it's not always that cut and dry. I always like listening to the hunter's instinct because sometimes that hunter instinct kicks in and I'm over here second guessing myself like maybe you should move, but your hunter instinct, well, Ray, I really want to stay there. I feel comfortable with that spot. Okay, well then, then I'll rethink it. All right, I think that's a good idea. You should stay there. But don't go into the mix just completely second guessing everything. You're there, make the best of it, listen to his advice, go with it. So you trusted him that far to get there. So another question is, what do the stand setups look like? Are they ladder stands? Are they lock-ons? Are we hunting from the ground on ground blinds? Are we on box blinds? Are there bow hangers? Are there, bow ropes to pull your bow up? Do I need to take my harness with my tree strap? Bow hangers, pack hangers, all that stuff. These are all questions that you should always ask. And sometimes you would think that there would be delivered to you up front, but I would say 70% of the time, I've never been told any of that, and that's something that, you don't have to carry a bow hanger or an extra bow rope or a pack hanger or all of this stuff with you. So it's good to ask those questions beforehand. Another one is, are we sitting all day? Are we not sitting all day? Can I come in for lunch? Really try to get a ball of what you're going into, so those are all very important questions so you can get your head in the game on, what you're going into, and then some of the times it's a 5-day hunt. Okay, 5-day hunt. Do I arrive that morning and then start that afternoon? And then that's my 5-day hunt? Or do I get there that morning, which I've had before, and you start that morning? Those are all big questions. Like the way I do it is you arrive the day before your hunt starts and I give you a safety meeting at noon. And then that afternoon, I give everybody a bonus hunt so you can find your stand during daylight hours because I've noticed, me personally, I get anxious, not knowing where my stand is, and then I kind of sleep uncomfortable that night, and then I'm playing Star Wars with my flashlight, trying to find this stand that I was guaranteed to find, and now I can't find it. So I've taken that away, and I let you start the day before on a bonus hunt, bonus afternoon hunt, and then you get a true 5 days of hunting. So you already know the next day that stand that you're going to go to, where your bow rope is, bow hanger, all that stuff. You got it pictured out in your head. So another question I ask is, when do we start? Are the stands flagged out properly? Do you show me on Onyx? Do you show me on Hunt Stand? All things that you should really consider when you're picking an outfitter. Um, there's a lot more. I'll do a second video on this, but I hope this helped a little bit on picking an outfitter and where you should go. There's so many great outfitters out there, and you just ask the right questions, and kind of just be real with yourself. But I truly hope you enjoyed it. I love talking about it, and I thank you guys for sitting here and watching me talk about this, because I truly love it, and I hope you love it too. If not, you probably wouldn't be watching it. But thank you so much. Please subscribe, hit the like button, drop some comments in there. Tell me your experiences of other outfits and maybe what you would want to hear on the next podcast. But thank you so much. Until the next time of Shootin' Shit with Ray, I'll see you guys later.